Get out of here. Just look at yourself. You're freeloading in this house while my son is out there working," shouted Nick's godmother, Evelyn, furiously at Celine. "But Aunt Evelyn, I'm the one taking care of everything Nick needs. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have gotten that promotion," Celine tried to explain calmly. "Because of you, what help could you possibly give? You're nothing but a burden to my son." The older woman snapped, her face red with anger. Pause. Can you believe the betrayal Celine faced? Stay tuned to Dark Voices to find out how she turns the tables. Celine tried to respond, but was quickly cut off again. "Leave this place. Look at you. Fat and pathetic. Just look at my son. You think he deserves someone like you? You're not good enough for him," Evelyn yelled, her voice echoing through the apartment. Celine cried and cried. She didn't know what to do. She and Nick had been in a simple live-in relationship. When Nick ventured into the world of business, Celine gave him everything she had to support his dreams. She never expected that once he made it big, his family would turn against her like this. She called Nick to tell him what happened, but he just laughed. "Your mom is kicking me out of your apartment, and you're laughing?" she said, heartbroken. "What she said is true. You're just sitting there doing nothing while I'm out here grinding. Just follow her wishes." Nick replied coldly on the other end of the line. "Do you even hear yourself? Do you even know what you're saying?" she asked, her voice shaking. "I'm getting tired of you, too. Aren't you even ashamed of how fat you've gotten?" "I sure am. You should see the daughter of my business partner. Now she's sexy and beautiful," he said seriously. Pause. Shocking, right? How could Nick turn so cruel? Keep watching Dark Voices to see Celine's epic comeback. Celine tried to speak, but Nick interrupted her, saying he was busy. Before hanging up, he instructed her to make sure all her things were gone by the time he got home. Celine couldn't believe what was happening. She sobbed uncontrollably as she began to pack her things. Evelyn returned to say that by the time she came back, the apartment should be spotless and empty of Celine's belongings. It crushed her. She had given up everything for Nick. She supported him in every step of his dream. And this was how he repaid her. When Nick had nothing, she had been right by his side. Now that he had wealth and success, he replaced her with someone better looking. "Dad, can you come pick me up, please?" Celine finally called her father, her voice barely audible between sobs. Not long after, several cars pulled up in front of Nick's apartment. Her father got out quickly, embracing his daughter and telling her how happy he was that she was finally coming back home. "I told you, sweetheart, that man would only bring you trouble," her father said bitterly. "What about that contract you had with his company? They're going to make millions off it." "Let it continue, but stall the process," Celine answered. "I'll get my body back to how it was, and I'll be the one to present the contract. I'll make sure they regret everything they've done." Her father smiled approvingly. "I'll take care of the paperwork. I'll even offer Nick's company an even bigger deal, but only to tighten the grip. We'll play this slow." Celine nodded firmly, her mind set. From that day on, all she could think about was the faces of Nick's family when she would return. Everything she had given to Nick, she would take it all back. She began working on her body, determined to become beautiful again. She wanted Nick to drool the moment he saw her. But she didn't realize that her life was about to change even more drastically. Since her return home, her old fiancé Ryan, someone she had long forgotten, had not left her side. "Ow! Why do you keep pinching my love handles?" Celine exclaimed one afternoon. "I don't get why you're trying to get rid of them. I love you just the way you are." "In fact, I prefer you this way," Ryan said sincerely. "What do I care about your preferences?" Celine shot back. "We're just engaged." "Exactly. We're engaged and soon to be married, so I'm just telling you now." "Oh, you think this engagement is real?" Celine asked, raising an eyebrow. "You don't know this, but your dad loves me," and I'm his favorite. All I have to do is ask, and I've got the green light," Ryan smirked. "Yeah, because you're his godson and childhood buddy." Celine rolled her eyes. Ryan shrugged and went back to his workout. He had practically moved into Celine's house, following her around like a puppy, even though he had his own empire to run. Ryan was one of the youngest billionaires in America, running a chain of businesses that rivaled his father's empire. They were known as the top two of American entrepreneurship. Nick, in contrast, was always trying to match up to their level. But Nick had no idea who Celine really was. He never realized that the contracts and investors that came to him were pushed his way because Celine begged her father on his behalf. "What did you even see in that guy?" Ryan asked, smirking. "I mean, I'm clearly better looking than him." "You're so full of yourself, and you probably have a tiny," Celine teased with a laugh. "Hey, excuse me. If this thing bites you, you'd probably pass out, so don't underestimate it." "Even if it does bite, I'd probably still feel nothing," she said with a wicked grin. Ryan's jaw dropped, completely stunned that Celine just insulted the one thing he thought no one could insult. That became their new dynamic. While Celine was busy working on her weight loss journey, Ryan constantly teased her. She couldn't tell whether he was there to support her or just to annoy her. He had a habit of pinching the fat around her waist, which only made her more irritated. She was especially annoyed when her dad suddenly told her he was moving forward with the engagement plans. Celine immediately said no. But when Ryan mentioned he could help destroy Nick's company on the day of her big revenge, she was sold. If she had to marry someone, it might as well be Ryan. He knew her. She was comfortable with him. Even if they always bickered, she knew she was important to him. What she didn't know was that Ryan had loved her since they were kids. "Man, I miss your love handles," Ryan teased again one morning. Celine rolled her eyes. "If that's your reaction, then I must be getting skinnier. Are you kidding me? Have you even looked in the mirror? You're so slim now. It's annoying. The worst part is you're not even doing this for me. You're doing it for that jerk." "What are you talking about?" she asked. "I'm your fiancé. You should want to look good for me." "Well, since you know that, then you handle Nick. I'll take care of the wedding." Celine shook her head. "I won't marry you until I see them fall," she said firmly. Ryan pouted. When Celine left for the gym, he immediately called his secretary to set the plan in motion. He would dismantle Nick's businesses one by one until they went bankrupt. Once Nick was desperate enough, he'd come crawling back, begging for new contracts. Meanwhile, Celine was preparing herself for the upcoming party hosted by her father. The theme of the party was to introduce new business partners and investors, including Nick. It was guaranteed that Nick and his entire family would be there. It was the perfect moment for her grand reveal. As the party date approached, Celine struggled to sleep. Every night, she relived the pain caused by Nick and his mother. She would wake up in tears, haunted by memories. One night, her sobbing was interrupted by a light tapping on her window. She frowned and peeked outside, only to find Ryan standing below. "What the hell are you doing here?" she snapped. "Put on a jacket." "We're going on a picnic," Ryan said with a mischievous grin. "Are you insane? Do you even know what time it is?" "So what? Were you about to go to bed? Come on. Instead of crying over that loser, spend time with me." Celine was stunned that Ryan somehow knew she'd been crying, but she didn't overthink it. She grabbed a coat and went with him. He took her to a quiet hilltop spot just outside the city. The view was spectacular. The night sky filled with stars and surrounded by tall trees. It felt like it was just the two of them in the entire world. "What were you crying about?" Ryan asked softly. "I wasn't crying," Celine lied. "And how did you even know? My radar is strong when it comes to you. You're weird. What food did you bring anyway?" Ryan pulled out container after container, each one filled with Celine's favorite dishes. She blinked in surprise. Despite their years of friendship, She had never realized how much he noticed about her. As Ryan set up a portable projector for a movie night, Celine couldn't help but think this was the first night she didn't think about Nick. Ever since their relationship ended, this was the first time she genuinely felt okay. Though she left the house sad, she returned that night with a lightness in her heart. Thinking it over, Celine realized that Ryan had done nothing but try to make her happy since she came home. He could be playful and annoying, sure, but not once did he ever get mad at her. "Stop crying already," Ryan said gently. "Tell me, how did you know I was crying?" she asked again. "I told you I've got a strong radar when it comes to you." Celine raised an eyebrow and called out to one of her household staff. The elderly maid hesitantly emerged, avoiding Celine's gaze. "Yeah, did you tell him I was crying?" "Well, his offer was really good, Mom," the woman said sheepishly. "Sir, you know I collect foreign bills." Ryan laughed and handed her a crisp dollar bill, which made her eyes light up with joy. "So, if he brings more foreign money next time, you'll betray me again?" "Of course not, Mom," the maid said, lying through her teeth as she scurried back inside. Ryan couldn't stop laughing at her antics. Celine didn't get mad. After all, that old maid had raised her. And since Ryan was practically raised in the same household, the maid had helped raise him, too. Celine smiled while watching Ryan laugh, only for him to fall silent when she suddenly stepped toward him and kissed the corner of his mouth. "You're such a fool. You'd really do anything for me, wouldn't you? Isn't it obvious?" Ryan replied. "You're the most important person in my life." "Thank you, Ryan. After all this, I'll take care of the wedding." Ryan froze. "Wait, what did you just say?" "I said I wouldn't have a single worry marrying someone like you." Ryan couldn't contain his smile. Celine kissed him on the cheek before heading back into the house. Ryan practically leapt with joy. After years of waiting, her view of him was finally starting to change. In the following days, Celine became busy preparing for the party. The guest list included the most influential entrepreneurs from across the globe. She couldn't help but giggle, imagining Nick's reaction when he realized that all the promises her father had made to him would vanish in an instant. Unbeknownst to Celine, it was Ryan who was secretly dismantling Nick's businesses. One by one, he was opening competing companies, copying Nick's concepts, but doing them better. Investors and clients began flocking to Ryan's side. At the party, Celine was radiant. When Nick spotted her, he walked straight over, irritated. "What are you doing here?" he demanded. "Why is it so bad that I'm here? Are you that desperate for my attention?" She replied coolly. "You think just because you lost a few pounds, I'd take you back?" Nick scoffed. "I was invited." "So if you don't have anything important to say, don't talk to me," Celine said sharply. "This event is about me. I'm being recognized by the top executives in the company. I'm being introduced to high-profile investors. Don't you dare embarrass me," he warned. Celine just laughed and took a seat off to the side. Moments later, her father arrived and kicked off the event. Nick's eyes widened in shock when he saw Ryan standing proudly beside Celine's father. Ryan walked confidently to the stage, introduced as the future son-in-law. Nick and his family were stunned, suddenly desperate to know who the daughter of this top-tier businessman was. "I am proud to introduce my one and only daughter, Celine," her father announced. Nick and his family gasped. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Her father then reintroduced Ryan as her fiancé and declared that the two of them would be running the two most powerful companies in the country together. Nick scowled and shot a hateful look at his mother. If it hadn't been for her, he would have been the one standing beside Celine. As Celine stepped off stage, she was swarmed by investors and her father's business partners. Ryan, too, was warmly welcomed. Nick, now desperate and ignored by everyone, gathered the courage to approach Celine's father. "Sir, when are we discussing the new contract? You said you'd introduce me to the investors?" Nick asked nervously. "Don't worry about that. I'm taking it all back," the man replied bluntly. "What do you mean?" Nick asked, frowning. You really thought you made it without my help? Do you remember what you and your mother said to my daughter? Now I'm reclaiming everything, even the contracts you signed. I don't care if we pay the penalty. All transactions between your company and ours stop now. Celine stood beside her father, her voice sharp. You don't get to do this to me. And walk away unscathed. You can't do this to me, Celine. Nick cried. Don't you remember our dreams? We loved each other. We lived together for years. Ryan stepped in between them. Nick tried to push him aside, yelling that Ryan had no right to interfere. In his desperation, Nick claimed that he and Celine had never broken up. Celine laughed bitterly and began listing everything Nick had done. The cheating, the lies, the manipulation. She exposed him in front of everyone. Ryan gently pulled her aside and told her he'd take care of it. Celine nodded. That moment was enough for her. She had gotten her revenge. But Ryan wasn't done. This isn't enough. Ryan growled. For everything you did to her. This is just the beginning. He called his secretary. Moments later, Nick's phone buzzed with a flood of notifications. All his stocks had plummeted. His finance manager called to inform him that they were officially bankrupt. Every investor had pulled out. Nick dropped to his knees, begging Celine, "You love me, right? Don't do this to me. Think about everything we went through." Celine looked down at him. "This is karma," she said, then turned her back and walked away. Ryan followed behind Celine, gently placing his blazer around her shoulders to keep her warm. That was the moment Celine couldn't hold it in anymore. She broke down, sobbing. Ryan reached out and softly wiped the tears from her cheeks. "Why can't it just be me?" Ryan asked quietly. "What do you mean? I've been here for years, loving you from a distance. I thought I could be okay just being your friend, but I can't anymore. I love you, Celine. Stop looking somewhere else. I've always been here. Look at me." "Ryan, are you saying yes, Celine? You're the woman I've loved all this time and never stopped thinking about." Ryan leaned in and gently kissed her. Celine closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of his lips. She didn't expect to like the kiss, but she did. As they kissed deeper, her thoughts flashed through every memory she shared with Ryan. When they finally pulled apart, Ryan looked into her eyes, brushing her cheek softly. "I'll take care of you. I'll make you happy. No matter how your body changes, I'll love you just the same." His words were full of sincerity, far from his usual teasing tone. "What if over time you change, too? What if you get tired of me like Nick did?" she whispered. Ryan shook his head. "Celine, I've loved you since we were kids. Do you really think I'd get tired of you now?" She tried to speak, but Ryan gently stopped her. "I'm here now, Celine, and I promise I'll never make you cry again. If you do cry, it'll only be because you're happy." Celine smiled. She didn't know if her decision was right. But after years of pain and heartbreak, she also wanted to be happy again. She hugged Ryan tightly. And as she did, something unexpected happened. She felt calm, like everything she was thinking and feeling finally settled. In that single embrace, she felt peace. Celine agreed to let Ryan court her officially, even though they were already engaged. Ryan was thrilled. At last, he had the chance to show her his love openly. Celine, however, was still hesitant deep down. Though she and Nick had been happy once, over time he had changed, and eventually he was the one who drove her away. One day, Nick showed up again. "What are you doing here?" Celine asked coldly. "I just want to say I'm sorry, Celine. Can we please go back to how things were? If I had known everything you did for me, I never would have treated you like that." Nick pleaded. "I don't know how you even found my house. But you're delusional if you think I'm coming back to you. No, Nick. You threw everything we had away. But look at this ring. I bought it a long time ago. It was meant for you, Nick said, forcing a smile, but the desperation in his eyes was obvious. Celine shook her head slowly. You should have stayed the man I once loved. You should have treated me right. Don't blame me for your actions. This was all you're doing. You're only like this because you know now. You know I can help you succeed. You know how much you can gain from me. Don't act like you're not using me. If only you took care of yourself. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten tired of you. Did you ever even look in the mirror? You got so fat and ugly. Nick's true colors came rushing back. Celine's eyes widened, stunned and deeply hurt. She remembered how he once told her to eat more because she was too thin. And now, after she did, this was what he thought of her. Tears welled up in her eyes. The pain he caused hit her all over again. She had given everything for this man, and he repaid her with insults. Just then, Ryan entered the house. The sight of Celine crying while Nick stood in front of her sent rage boiling through his veins. What's this trash doing here? Ryan snapped. Ryan, what are you doing here? Celine asked, startled. Why are you crying? Is it because of him again? Ryan turned to Nick, who immediately shot a glare back. Nick pointed at Ryan, shouting, blaming him for everything. This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have fallen like this. This is why she left me. You're the reason she won't come back. She found someone else. You think he'll love you when you get fat again? Of course he will. He's rich. That's all he wants. Before Nick could go on, Ryan's fist slammed into his face. He punched him over and over until Celine managed to pull him back. Ryan breathed heavily, furious. This is all because of you, Nick. From the beginning, I was her fiancé, but she chose you. She gave up everything, her family, her future for you. And when she asked her father to help you rise, you threw it all away. I may have come from nothing, Ryan continued, but I never relied on anyone else to succeed. Everything I have came from hard work, and now Celine and I, we earned our place. Nick couldn't respond. He stormed out, shouting that both of them would pay. Ryan immediately called security and ordered that Nick never be allowed back into their neighborhood. Afterward, Celine quietly took Ryan's hand and brought him to her room. She gently tended to the wounds on his knuckles, cleaning the blood. I don't know, but it still hurts, she admitted softly. Cry all you want. Just don't forget. I'll be right here no matter what. Celine paused mid-treatment and began sobbing again. Ryan wanted to hug her, but he stood still, unsure. When she finally calmed down, she gave him a warm smile and thanked him. The next day, Ryan stayed true to his promise and continued courting Celine. Slowly, Celine began to open her heart to him, but every time she got close to expressing her true feelings, memories of the cruel things Nick had said would come rushing back, leaving her frozen. Ryan understood. He knew Celine already had feelings for him. What held her back wasn't doubt about him. It was the lingering pain and fear Nick had left behind. Since that confrontation, Celine became more health conscious and dedicated herself to the gym. You need to rest, Celine, Ryan said with concern one afternoon. I'm not even tired. I only work out once a day, she replied, brushing it off. Your dad's got you working nonstop at the company. And even after all that, you still go to the gym. You're not even eating right. What do you want me to do, Ryan? Let myself get fat again so people can treat me like I'm disgusting. That's not what I meant. No, you don't understand, Ryan. Since we were kids, everyone has always loved you. Even people who don't know you fall for you at first sight. Ryan's eyes widened. Celine immediately regretted saying it. She knew Ryan never made her feel small. He'd never hurt her. Her insecurity just got the better of her. Ryan sighed and gently held her hand. I may not fully understand your pain, but I know you need a break. You're too thin now, Celine. This isn't healthy. What are you trying to say? She asked cautiously. Without another word, Ryan picked her up and carried her out of the gym. He drove her straight to a restaurant and ordered a full spread of food. As soon as the plates hit the table, Celine felt nauseous, just imagining the weight she might gain from eating. Ryan smiled gently and pushed the food toward her, but Celine rushed to the bathroom and threw up. Nothing even came out, but her body trembled from the stress. Ryan's concern deepened. He packed up the food and took her to his place. Celine was confused about what he was planning, but her eyes widened when Ryan put on an apron and started cooking. The aroma filled the air, making her stomach rumble. "I don't know if your taste has changed, but I remember this used to be your favorite," he said. "You didn't have to do all this," Celine muttered. "Just try it." Celine took a bite and loved it. She quickly devoured the meal. Ryan beamed as he watched her eat with genuine appetite for the first time in a while. From then on, Ryan cooked for her regularly, no matter how busy he was with his company. The same went for Celine, who was helping run her father's business. She didn't gain back all the weight, but she was no longer underweight either. Her appearance began to glow again. Men would turn their heads when they passed her on the street. Her confidence started returning because of Ryan's care. After years of suffering, Celine was finally feeling happiness again. "Wait, I should have cooked for you. If I knew you were coming, I'd have stayed home," Ryan said one evening when she showed up at his place. "I didn't come here for you to cook," she said with a soft laugh. "Something wrong? Are you feeling off?" "Relax, I just wanted to see you." Ryan looked puzzled. "What, did my uncle send you with a message?" "No, it's not that either. I missed you. I feel like I only get to see you when you're bringing me food." Ryan's face turned bright red. He was overjoyed that she missed him. Celine, feeling nervous, took a deep breath and suddenly hugged him. Ryan's mouth opened in surprise. He wasn't sure whether to hug back. "Aren't you going to hug me?" she asked, half embarrassed. "You're making me look ridiculous." "Sorry, I'm just not used to this," Ryan replied a little shy. "Well, you better hug me tighter or I might hear your heart pounding," she teased, clearly flustered herself. Ryan pouted but hugged her tighter. He leaned his face into the curve of her neck, savoring the closeness. Celine blushed deeply at the feeling of his warmth. "I hope you miss me like this every day," Ryan whispered. "It's the only way I get moments like this. I'll make time for you from now on. Or maybe I should just move in with you," Celine said impulsively. Ryan laughed loudly. She giggled too and said that she and her father had talked. He had asked what her real status was with Ryan. Celine then made their engagement official, fully accepting her father's wishes with her whole heart. Ryan nearly cried from happiness. He had waited so long for this moment. He pulled Celine into a tight embrace. She smiled and invited him out to dinner. When they arrived at the restaurant, Ryan was stunned. The place was beautiful and romantic. He was even more shocked when he saw Celine eating food she didn't cook herself. They laughed and chatted until a waiter brought a covered dish to their table. "Sir, please take a look at this. If you don't like it, we can replace it," the waiter said with a smile. Ryan looked at Celine, confused. She simply shrugged. He lifted the lid and found a small box inside. He opened it and saw 2 rings, one for a man and one for a woman. Stunned, Ryan looked at Celine, who was beaming at him. "Hey, the waiter is asking if you like it," she said playfully. "Who wouldn't love this? I just can't believe the woman I love is proposing to me. I should have been the one doing this. You've given me everything, Ryan. So much more than I ever expected. I just want you to know I appreciate all of it," Celine said. Ryan smiled, visibly touched. He knelt down in front of her, took the ring, and asked for her hand. She gave it eagerly and slid the other ring onto his finger. He looked down at the ring and laughed. "Why 2 rings? Isn't it usually just the woman who wears the engagement ring?" "It's a couple's ring," Celine replied with a smirk. "It's my way of telling you I want to marry you, that I love you. Did I hear that right? You love me?" Ryan asked, stunned. Sorry it took me so long to realize. But yes, I love you, Celine said tearfully. Ryan stepped forward and hugged her tightly. When they pulled away, he gazed at her seriously, gently caressing her cheek. He kissed her. Celine sighed happily. You're so slow. What? Before he could finish, Celine grabbed him by the neck and kissed him deeply. Ryan grinned, held her waist, and pulled her closer. Their kiss deepened. When they finally separated, both their faces were flushed red. I better stop now or I won't be able to hold back, Ryan said, half joking. Then let's just go home, Celine said, looking away shyly. Ryan's eyes widened in surprise. Smiling broadly, he took her hand and led her out of the restaurant. Once they got home, neither Celine nor Ryan wasted any time. They began kissing again, passionately and desperately. Celine moaned softly as her body responded to every touch. Ryan lifted her into his arms, carried her to the bedroom, and laid her down gently. Celine gasped as she felt him inside her. Ryan moved faster again and again until they both reached the height of their desire. Afterward, he lay beside her, watching her sleep peacefully, a smile on his face. It all still felt like a dream. When Celine woke up, Ryan pretended to be asleep. She smiled to herself. But later that day, Ryan teased her about what had happened. Celine's face turned crimson and she playfully smacked his shoulder. As she tried to get up, Ryan scooped her into his arms. The house staff smiled, watching the two of them so obviously in love. Celine was mortified and clung to Ryan as he carried her. His grin so wide it looked like he'd just won the lottery. From that day on, Celine moved in with Ryan. Their happiness was so visible that even her father couldn't help but be pleased. Despite her busy schedule, learning to run her father's company, and Ryan handling a string of new business projects, the two always found time to go out and enjoy each other's company. They were always dating, always laughing, always affectionate. Everyone called them true sweethearts. Compared to her experience with Nick, her life with Ryan was like night and day. With Ryan, she felt safe and loved. Thanks to him, she overcame her eating disorder. She no longer feared gaining weight because Ryan made it clear he would love her no matter what. Celine and Ryan thought their joy would go on uninterrupted forever. But one day, everything changed. You still can't let me go, can you? Nick said with a cold smile. You really think I'll let you be happy while I'm miserable? Let go of me, Celine snapped. Why should I? Nick smirked. He had disguised himself as a driver. So when Celine entered her car, she was shocked to see Nick behind the wheel. Where are you taking me? She demanded. This isn't right. Pull over. No way, Nick laughed. You're going to pay for everything. Celine immediately called Ryan for help, but before she could say anything beyond the word help, Nick snatched the phone and threw it aside. Terror overtook her. She had no idea what Nick intended to do. She pleaded with him repeatedly until he grew irritated and suddenly stopped the car. He climbed into the back seat and punched her so hard she passed out. Meanwhile, Ryan was in a panic. He had heard the word help from Celine before the call ended. He pulled the security footage from her father's company and saw Nick beating up Celine's real driver and stealing the vehicle. What's the point of CCTV if no one's watching it? Ryan screamed, furious. You're all fired. Everyone in the security office had been playing Mobile Legends when Nick carried out the kidnapping. Their negligence led to Celine's abduction. Ryan and her father were both frantic. They knew that in these kinds of situations, anything could happen. Rape, murder. Nick was unstable, and they feared for Celine's life. Celine begged Nick to stop the car, swearing she would help him rebuild his company. She thought this was all about business, that Nick only wanted help. But she was wrong. Why now, Nick? Why are you doing this? She cried. Even at the end, you're still making me suffer. We're starting over, Nick said desperately as he drove. Just the two of us somewhere no one knows us. I promise I'll change. I'll never make the same mistakes. What are you talking about? She asked. You hurt me too much for us to ever go back. So, you really can't take me back? Nick asked, his voice breaking. I love Ryan, Celine said firmly. Before she could say more, flashing police cars appeared behind them. Nick cursed and sped up, panic in his eyes. Celine trembled and begged him again to stop the car. She promised he wouldn't go to jail. She just wanted this to end. You're the only thing I want, Celine, Nick cried. All I want is to go back to what we had. Celine glanced out the window and saw Ryan chasing after them in his car. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, then climbed into the front seat and tried to wrestle the steering wheel from Nick. He slapped her hard across the face. She sobbed, pleading with him to stop. You really aren't coming back to me? Nick asked softly. Even if I came back, Nick, we could never be the same. In that case, it's better if we die together, Nick shouted. Celine's eyes widened in horror. Nick stepped harder on the gas pedal, his eyes wild. She followed his gaze and saw a massive truck barreling toward them. She screamed and grabbed the wheel, but it was too late. The car crashed violently into the truck. Ryan slammed the brakes. His hands were shaking uncontrollably as he threw open the car door and ran toward the wreckage. When he reached Celine's car, his scream filled the air at the sight before him. He tried desperately to open the mangled door and pull her out. When he finally saw her bloodied body, he broke down, sobbing. The police didn't wait to call for an ambulance. They lifted Celine into one of their vehicles. Ryan climbed in with them, barely able to think. He sat in stunned silence, eyes locked on Celine's unconscious form. At the hospital, Ryan was still in shock. He looked down at his hands, covered in her blood. Then he saw her face again in his mind, and it shattered him. Suddenly, a powerful punch landed across his face. Celine's father had arrived. Get it together. Be strong. My daughter needs you, the older man shouted through his own tears. But there was so much blood, Ryan whispered, his voice broken. I know, but we have to pray. My daughter is strong. She'll wake up. She'll survive this, her father said, trying his best to stay strong for them both. Ryan buried his face in his hands, the blood still visible on his skin. Then he completely broke down. His cries were deep and guttural. Celine's father sat beside him and wrapped an arm around his shoulder, holding him as he cried. Hours passed before the doctor finally came out of the emergency room. Ryan jumped up and ran toward him. Doctor, how is she? The surgery went well, the doctor said somberly. But she suffered a severe head injury and lost a lot of blood. Right now, we can only pray that she wakes up. There's no way to know how long she'll sleep or if she'll wake at all. Ryan burst into tears again just as they wheeled Celine's unconscious body out of the operating room. She was transferred to a private room, but even after several days and nights, there was no change in her condition. She lay perfectly still. Ryan never left her side. Even when Celine's father begged him to get some rest, he refused. Then one night, something happened. Ryan woke with a jolt to see Celine sitting up in bed, looking around in confusion. Celine, thank God you're awake. You came back. You fought through, Ryan cried. But she looked at him with a puzzled expression. Who are you? Where am I? Am I in a hospital? Ryan froze, paralyzed by her words. He immediately called for the doctor. She's awake, Ryan told him. But she doesn't remember anything. The doctor examined her and confirmed Ryan's fear. She's physically stable now, and the wounds will heal, but because of the head trauma, her memory has been affected. We can't say for sure if it will return. I'm sorry, Celine said softly, looking at Ryan. I don't remember anything. That's okay, Ryan said, forcing a smile through his tears. I'm just happy you woke up. That's what matters. She frowned at him. Why are you crying? Please don't cry. It makes me sad, too. Ryan cried even harder. She reached out and gently rubbed his back, trying to comfort him as he wept by her bedside. In the days that followed, Ryan began telling